Hello, welcome back to another weekly review of Primo Calcio. I am Michael here with Anthony today. How are you doing on week 29?
I'm doing horrible. What a horrible week.
Horrible week.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know.
really
This
sad.
one was kind of like a hit or miss week. It's kind of like the Serie A.
No,
We've had some teams have maintained form, other teams that needed to win lost. A couple surprises, a couple close games, but I don't know.
I was
Let's.
happy and I was sad.
You're happy. You're sad. Were you more sad
Yeah,
than happy?
yeah,
Yeah, I know.
yeah. It was a false joy. It was
Top
a
top of the table.
sincere
Big game.
bum.
Big
Yeah,
games here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's start with. Want to get started? You want to roll?
Let's start at the top.
Want
All
to
right.
roll, Daddy?
First on the docket is Genoa versus Lecce. I think we both kind of predicted that Genoa would continue their pretty good
Yeah.
form. 2-1 close game, but Genoa just kind of ekes it out.
Mm-hmm.
They've been pretty solid under Vieira and kind of expected. Miretti, 2 goals. Guy that we've been watching
Yeah.
for a little bit. I've always thought he was one of the most talented next gen players of Juve, even more than a couple of their other talents who got more headlines. It's nice to see him starting to kind of pull his own weight. I think he's actually one of the few people who can really hold down an actual attacking mid spot. So,
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine if you give a player some time to play? Don't throw him in the trash every time he has a bad game, and give him the confidence to get a run out next week. Look what happened. Pretty
yep,
good. And it'll just keep building. This is the first step.
yeah.
It takes time. He's what, 21 years old?
The
He's a
lack
baby.
of
He's
the
a
big
baby.
teams to develop their players because they're unwilling to give like one or two young players time. They either sell them off right away or they loan them. I'd rather have them loan them, but
Yeah,
oftentimes
loan's
these loans
fine.
turn into sales, which is not what you want. So we
Yeah,
bitch about this a lot. It's the mismanagement of youths for the big teams. So
yeah. I
just
mean,
another
there's
one
plenty of
there, but
games.
yeah,
I mean, these guys can't play more than one game a week, so you can have a large roster and you can play these guys. So, and if you
especially if
can't,
you're
then the
competing on all
loan's great.
fronts.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you're
yeah,
in
loan's great.
Champions League, Coppa Italia, Serie A, yeah, you should be able to play them. Definitely.
You know,
All right, Udinese Verona. I did not see this one coming. I don't think Verona's a very good team, and Udinese has been
yeah,
quite good this year. I didn't see a 0-1. I definitely expected for Udinese to at least get 1 goal.
yeah. I'm with you there. It was a shocker.
Yeah, I mean, Udinese, I don't believe had Hovan though.
Why?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe
I'm
they
gonna
had
look it up.
Tovan.
Yeah, that would do it.
There
Um,
you go.
he's been definitely their
I
best player
think
this
Luca
year.
was there. Yeah, yeah. So I'm looking at the starting lineup. Luca was there with
Sanchez, yeah.
Sanchez. Tovan was not even on the bench.
No,
So
Tavon.
maybe yellow cards, maybe injury,
Yeah, probably yellow cards.
but
Yeah,
he was not there. So I mean, he's definitely their most important player by far. So
yeah,
goes to show.
it does.
All right, next is Monza versus Parma. I thought Monza was going to finally get their first win here. I do like
Nope.
that they found consistency in their midfield. They're running Castrovilli, Bianco, and Zeroli. I think that's their best midfield by far. And they've
Mm-hmm.
got Keita Balde. Their team looks better now after the winter than it did before. So I think Monza, I wish they would have done this at the beginning of the season because they might be
Yeah.
safe, but it's might be too little too late for them. They're pretty far down and they needed a win here to have any shot of staying up, and they did not get it. So
They're toast anyways. But yeah, no, I like the moves they made. It's
yeah, I
cool.
mean, Parma was a like direct rival, like above them out of the drop zone. They could have picked up some valuable points, but yeah, they're done. They're done probably.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
there's no chance.
Milan Como, first game to kind of delve into a little bit.
Ooh, yeah.
2-1, another comeback. Says 3-2 the week prior on Milan, and then versus I believe Lecce, and then now 2-1. So it seems like this is the only way that Milan wins. And to me, this means that Conceição's tactical setup is poor. It's poor every time. The players don't really fit the spots. He's putting uh, square pegs in round holes all the time, and that's what Fonseca was doing. That's what Pioli was doing towards the end of his tenure. 4-2-3-1 is not what this team should be running, and it just shows because they never look good to start a game off. They only look good in the end of a game when just the individual quality stands out a little bit more because the players are just like they're going at their at least a couple of them are going at their maximum to win. That's the only way Milan seems to win. Same characters. You're either going to get Leao doing something, Pulisic, or Reinders. In this game, it was Reinders and Pulisic.
I agree with you, but in this game, when I'm looking at the lineup here, this setup makes sense. Like
You think that
Bondo and
this
Musa
setup
as
makes
your V
sense?
mids. Bonda and Musa as your D mids.
Neither of them
Okay.
are D-mids, though.
Well, yeah, but yeah,
They're
that's true.
not.
Based on personnel. Yeah, yeah.
They need to be running a 3-man here, and they didn't look good. I mean, Como dominated this game, so Como was definitely the better team. 15 shots to Milan's 9, 6 to Milan's 3. They had a incorrectly offside goal ruled out. It was like for like a toenail. Like so Como that would change the game. If you're up 2-0, it's a
Yeah, I
big
saw that
change.
outside. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that was
So
yeah, it was
that
ridiculous.
I mean really like Milan won this game. They probably would have lost if they were down 2-0. So
Mhm.
Como definitely outplayed them. Their midfield looked bad. Um, it always does. It just always looks bad. No matter who they put in there, they don't have any actual D mids, and it shows. They're getting by purely on the quality of a couple of their individuals.
Yeah, do you think that it's worth even trying Conceição next year? I mean, is he that bad tactically? Does he just not have a team that he can put together that's in his image? I mean, I don't think that the players he has, you got your best players
So
in his image at all.
that's actually a really interesting question. I think I have to wait till the end of season. For me personally, I would not try him. I think he's tactically so inept from what I've seen so far that I wouldn't do it. I've seen nothing new. I actually thought that Milan played better under Fonseca. I like the way he talks as far as like his like motivational stuff. I like that he's more of like a aggressive coach. One would say I like that little more of for whatever people call this is grinta. I'm not even sure if that's real grinta here, but either way,
Hmm.
he's that
I,
type of manager. I like a little bit of that, but I'm kind of souring on him a little bit just because every single game the lineup is poor, the tactics are poor. You wouldn't even try a 3-man back line when it clearly fits your team the best.
the
It's
problem
like
I think
it's
is
weird.
you have guys that like just clearly aren't gonna like Teo and Leao aren't gonna bust ass and play defense. They shouldn't really have to. I mean, that's not what they do. But
Right, so why would you
you
not run
gotta
3 men?
Yeah, but I mean, because like he wants all those guys. This is the thing a lot of these managers do now. You got to play all the phases of the game. It's like well, they're not, but they're sweet at doing those things. So get a bunch of other guys to do that crap.
I know this
I
is
don't
kind of
know.
what I like to say. No, you're right. This is what I say about Reinders too. It's like Johnny Reinders should be either a CM or an AM, right? Half the times he's playing CM DM, and you're just
Right.
limiting him entirely. He has to sit there and try to play a bunch of defense. He can play defense here and there throughout the game, but that's not what he does, right? He'll help out because he's a hard worker, but like he's not somebody who's an amazing defensive player. So let
Yeah.
him do what he is going to do. Put him in a position to succeed. This game he plays attacking midfield, and obviously he was huge in the game win. Like that's like two guys in the right or a couple guys in the right spot here, but you wouldn't have had the problems if your midfield was better organized or your defense was better organized.
Yeah. I mean, you could run this setup if you had different guys than Musa and Bondo.
If yeah, but they're all like that. You got Fofana, not a real DM.
Right.
Bondo, RLC, like Musa, Bondo, like nobody is an actual D mid out of like 6 midfielders you have.
Right.
It's just
No. Right.
poor, and Milan looks bad every game. Like they look bad against Lecce. They almost lost that game. Same here, and honestly, they probably should have lost this game if that offside call held, but they didn't. I mean, I don't know. It's just strange. I'll say Jimenez hasn't looked great, but I think we know that he's somebody who really relies on service. And if Milan is kind of out of it and not playing well and not providing with a ton of service, he's not going to do much. I think he's like a crafty striker, like a fox in the box type of guy, but he's not going to go out and like coordinate play.
It's a
So
jack called the Jack in the Box. Jack
yeah,
in the Box.
Jack in the
Yeah.
box.
Yeah. 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 My kids have one. How do you think uh, Kim Walker's been looking?
If Kim Walker.
Remember the guy? Kyle
I,
Walker. I think he's been looking like. I think he's fallen off to me.
I think he's fallen off.
He had a nice
I
little start,
think
and then
I think that honestly, this
he's
happens with
probably
this
just annoyed
team.
as fuck.
Yeah. Like seriously, I think he gets here because the first game, all of a sudden the team was incredibly organized. Like
I'm
the
gonna
back
turn things
line,
around. I'm gonna help.
well, yeah, because he came in, he's like, no, like I'm the one who's actually won shit. Here you guys go, and the team was like, all of a sudden the back line was very much in order. He was playing great, and now it just seems a little sloppy because I just don't think when you're involved in the circus, I think the circus just ruins you.
It does absolutely,
So
100%, absolutely. This is what guys, fans of Milan, Juve, Manchester United is looking like this. Tottenham. There's a certain culture at these clubs, and it's incredibly contagious. And it's happening right now. How do you cure it? You have to just clean house and then reestablish culture from square one. You don't just start buying more dudes, random people like you have how many midfielders that have the same profile, but none of them have the profile you need? That's just not understanding how to put a team together. That's just buying names and throwing them in a team. That's just stupid.
Yeah, I mean, most of it is for marketing. I mean, they've made a couple
Yeah,
signings that I
of
don't
course.
think were actually for marketing. One of them is Reinders because he doesn't have a high marketability, or he didn't come that way. That was a good signing, but most of them are for marketing, and some are work out, some won't. But yeah, no, it's definitely when you don't have a true team building and cohesion in mind, and this is what you get. Plus, there's a lot of circus shows going on. I mean, Hernandez, Leal, like everybody's all over social media. A lot of
Yeah.
circus around this club right now, and you're starting to feel it. So when you walk into this environment and there's no core, there's no culture to kind of already walk into and kind of calm the situation down, it's just gonna break. So yeah, Walker had like a good 3, 4, 5 matches as far as like composure goes. Now like he's getting beaten more than he was at the start. Like he's not looking like a massive improvement. Sure, actually, I want to say at this point, the last few games, he has not been an improvement. The start he was though.
Poor Dele Alpi too. He came out for what, like 8 minutes or something? Dele Alli.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, he came off like a little bit, and then he gets. Did you see like the whole like red card thing where like Walker was trying to like tell him to not get a
Yeah,
red
that's what
card? He's
that's
like
what made
his
me think
boy.
about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't get that at all. But I mean,
I mean, yeah, that's like it's kind of pathetic.
it's very strange. He's like, yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
want like his boy to like get a red
Yeah.
card, and like I think they show Gabi next. I'm like, what the fuck, man? So it
Yeah,
was,
exactly.
yeah. Either way, I mean, strange win. Milan, maybe they can keep doing this. I was gonna just say they can't keep doing this,
Well,
but maybe they can just keep winning with comebacks.
yeah, I mean, you guys got some real soul searching to do. I mean, it's actually in one way, it's much better the position you're in because the only way to go is up. You guys are in a poopy spot. You don't need to be married to any of these players. I mean, no one would be pissed if you guys got rid of all your best guys and just say, hey, we're starting over. But at the same point, you know, uh,
Yeah, how many times can you do a
how
reset?
many
Plus,
times?
if you don't trust the management to put the right guys in,
Yeah, and who you're gonna buy? Yeah. So I mean, you don't have the guaranteed manager that you're gonna stick with for
yeah.
multiple years to if you really want to do one of the slow rolls. You got to have a guy that you can do it with. I think Conceição might be better with that, but I just don't think he's not the right guy for this group of players. I don't
No,
think
I
at
don't think
all.
he's the guy you want to come into a circus. Um,
No.
he needs like a well-oiled machine, hard-nosed players, right? That's what he needs, and he probably would do very
Yeah.
well. When you enter the circus, one of the high fashion capitals of the world, like it's always gonna. You need a manager who can handle all that stuff and settle it down. That is something that guys like Ancelotti were easily able to do. Guys like even Pioli, he kind of just calmed the storm. You do need somebody who has some type of presence.
Yeah. I agree.
Last thing I'll kind of talk about a little bit different is there's been some talk about redemption of Abraham. With what you've
Oh
seen so far, I guess, and I'll give my take too. Would you keep Abraham? Would you not keep Abraham?
no, absolutely not. He's not good enough.
I would not keep him either. There's been a lot of talk saying, like, hey, maybe you redeem him because when he does play well, he's a lot more creative. He helps the play. He kind of helps the build up, which is good. Problem is, he's made of glass and he's not consistent.
He's not good enough. So the this is like the Locatelli conundrum we have at Juventus. It's like he's having a really good season. He should never be good enough to start for this team. That's like Abraham is not good enough for Milan. When he's at his best, like
Yeah,
he's maybe a sub, and you don't want to.
he
He's
has
not
some games
consistent enough
where
to
like
count on.
he has some classy touches and he does a lot of good things. But he
They're
doesn't do it
professional
consistently.
players. They
Yeah,
should. He's a professional player in a skill position.
yeah.
He should be able to do that.
Honestly,
It's
I
like
would
the
take
games.
Cutrone from
Yeah,
Como over him.
yeah. Cool. Trying to bust his ass, man.
He
Fucking
bust his
trying. That
ass.
guy's
He
like
still
he's a
showed his
gamer.
respect to the Curva Suda at Milan because that's where he came from. So it was cool.
Good for him.
And yet we sold him for peanuts again. Always.
Yeah, I mean, why have that guy? So when you can have Abraham, it's
Right.
just fucking crazy, man.
Yeah,
Um,
and the deal they're trying to work is to get rid of Salamakers. Look how good Salamakers playing this year. Oh my god, man.
yeah, yeah, I
Salamakers
gotta
is
get
a
rid of
way better
Salamander.
player.
No,
Uh,
good. You get rid of some. Let him go play somewhere else who is actually going to play and
yep.
thrive.
Let's roll to Torino Empoli. I think we both predicted a Torino win here, 1-0.
Yeah.
Although Empoli has been looking a lot better recently. I think they've kind of figured out their defense.
Hmm.
Ismaili's back this game. Kakache is one of their kind of solid players back there. Viti should be there, but Kakache is not bad. And Marianucci has been the new surprise. I think that three is way more solid, and you're seeing a
Hmm.
difference with how close these games are.
Well, Marianucci, new signing from Napoli. So,
Yeah, is that official?
uh,
Or is that like
yeah,
slanted or slated to be?
no, it's set. I was just reading it to us another thing today. They
Yeah.
said the deal is done. I said, sweet, cool, good signing. That's the kind of stuff I like to see.
Torino
Did you know
looking pretty
Napoli
solid.
has the most Italian players on the national team right now?
Good for them.
The Antonio Conte effect, baby.
I hope
Good
he
job.
stays there for a few years to kind of build the core even more.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
why would he go to any other? I mean, the only club that's better than them is Inter. I mean, why would he come to Juve right now? It's a freaking shit show. Why'd you go to Milan? It's a shit show.
Yeah.
He's in a great spot. They got a lot of sales to
Yeah.
take
I mean,
advantage
they've
of.
got a lot of money coming in from
Yeah.
Kvara and from Osimhen, so yeah, they
Yeah.
should be able to buy a couple top-notch players. Especially
Hmm.
they'll be in Champions League for sure, and if they win the Scudetto,
Oh
they'll
yeah.
see even more clout. So yeah, Torino's been looking pretty solid recently. I really like their
Well, they made some
winter
improvements.
mercato. Elmas has been very good for them. Casade is an immediate starter. Baragi, like all those three were
Hmm.
immediate starters. We talked about last time.
Yep,
Those were good moves. It definitely shored up some positions they needed help in.
I agree. It's they made a really good moves in the winter, and it's had impact.
Yeah. Next we go to one of the surprises.
Oh,
Venezia
this was a bummer.
Napoli 0-0.
Yeah, this was a
Kind of
bummer,
wild.
man. Yeah, what the wild thing wasn't even the result. The wild thing was the Napoli performance. Flat, uninspired. I mean, I don't think I've seen them play like that since like the beginning of the season. That was nuts. They did, on a positive note, if we're looking for silver lining here, get their first clean sheet in a long time.
Yeah, I
They've
mean,
been looking for that.
Venezia threatened a few times for sure.
They did.
I mean, Napoli did not play well, I would say, in the final third. Like they weren't able to kind of bury
Right.
when they needed to.
Hmm.
They definitely wanted to win. You could see there was a lot of fight later on in the game, but it just wasn't there the whole game. And
Yep.
sometimes I don't know why, but it seems to happen with teams like this. If you don't set the tone early against teams like Venezia, the belief tends to build, and then they hit
Yes.
harder as the game goes because they know they're actually going to get a result out of this. It's almost like you actually just have to come out ready to kill these teams. So you just crush their belief that they're going to get something out of this. Because every time you don't, stuff like this happens. I've seen it a
I
lot
think.
this season.
Yeah, I think teams nowadays are a lot more emotional. So they're like a lot more driven by momentum and just raw emotion. So that yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You got to come out there and be like, yeah, we're gonna get you, boo, and then you got to build on that the whole time. It's just they love the hype. So and they didn't do that. They came out flat as hell, and like I said, Venezia just built and built and built. Caviglia looked good today. I liked it was yesterday. Caviglia looked great.
Yeah.
He had a good
Yep.
game.
No, it was solid.
I always
Um,
like seeing that.
I mean? What do you think went wrong?
I don't wrong mentality. I mean, it was just nothing specifically, man. I mean, they're better than them on paper.
Yep. Lineup is
Against games
fine.
like this, like the whole Conza South thing with his tactics about like, dude, you gotta, you're better than them.
Yeah, in games like this, it's not
You
about the tactics.
no, yeah, you're better than them. You've played this game a million times. Did Conte not have him prepared? I don't know. What do you say to players in a game like guys? We can win the Scudetto. 10 games left. All you got to do is play 10 matches like they're the last matches of your life. Can you show up to work and do a great job
Yeah,
10 times?
and you beat
For the guy
Venezia.
that shows up and does that every single day for a fraction of the price of you do. Can you just do that? And they just can't. They can't be bothered with it. So I think it's just, this is a modern athlete problem. It's unfortunate, but I'd say they played their ass off. You know
Yeah,
that's going
they
to
always do.
happen.
Yeah, Venezia always
Yeah.
does.
Yep. And I think too, like a lot of Napoli's dominance comes from the fact that they outplay people, but against these smaller sides,
Yeah.
they're coming to play too.
Yeah, I mean Napoli has been on honestly pretty rough form like for the
Shitty form.
past 6 weeks or
Mhm.
so. They come up
Oh
with
yeah.
3 draws. I mean, at
Mhm.
least before that, and that was when they were losing games they were ahead on, which hadn't happened the whole season. It's like a lot of stuff was happening at Napoli. It was like 3 draws, and they had a loss, a draw, a win, a draw. Like it's been really spotty. If you take their last like 8 games, they'd be doing terrible
Yep.
right now. It's because they
Yep.
had such good form starting off. So, in my opinion, all these boys have to find it fast because
Yeah, they do.
otherwise they will find themselves out of this race. And
I
with
think.
with
Well, I think
even
they are.
decent
Yeah.
results, crazy thing, with even decent results the past 8 games, like a couple more wins, they would be tied, if not in first. That's all they needed, like two,
Oh,
three more games to go their way.
I mean,
And
this league is super,
totally changed.
super down. Yeah, this league is super down. All you gotta do is string together. You just gotta beat the bad teams, and you get through. This should be an easy win.
Yeah, I mean, we're at match day 29 and first place has
Yeah, dude.
64 points.
Yeah,
It's
it's
crazy.
terrible.
I
It's
haven't seen
it's
a season like this in a long time where everybody's beating each other up so badly. I mean, I still think Conte's got the team. There's no drama that I'm seeing. I mean, it's just was a poor performance. They just couldn't
yeah.
bury.
Every team goes through this in the course of a season. That's why you play so many games. That's the whole point of it. I had a buddy over. We were talking about NFL, and he's like, sports would be better if they had just 16 games like the NFL, because it makes each game more intense. I'm like, yeah, but that's a much more physical sport and blah blah blah. I'm like, this they're trotting around half the time. I'm like, a lot of it's too like the attrition of the season. You go through these ups and downs, and you got to get through these tough patches, and that builds, that builds. What am I looking for? Solidarity within a team when you can get through those patches. Unfortunately for Napoli, it looks like it's happening at a very bad time, which is very uncharacteristic of Conte teams. But
It's
10 games
more
or 9 games left, they can get it
resiliency.
together.
It's
Yeah,
more like resiliency. It's like how much can you weather the storm, come back strong again, and show
yeah.
that we do actually mean to be here. And we've seen this a lot. I mean, and that actually might be like a good solid transition to actually before we leave. Um, with this, do you think Napoli? I mean, I know technically they're not out of the Scudetto race. Do you think that this kind of damned them? I don't. I think there's still a big chance because they just need. I mean, they don't need to win out, but they just need to perform well their next 9 match
Well,
here.
how many points are they behind Inter right now?
Three,
3. Yeah, I mean, no, they're
one
not out
game.
of it at all. Yeah, it's one
One game.
game.
I mean, it's like one and a
And
half because now Inter, I believe, has the head-to-head.
well, when we get to Inter, there's a point I'm going to make about the multiple games a week, and I think that it's actually going to be helping Inter because they're getting more of a momentum built up. They're going to start playing better because they're playing more important games. So the whole level of their play is going to
Yeah.
go up. So I don't think it's going to hurt them as much as people cry about it. I think people like to make excuses ahead of time just in case their team doesn't win. So it's like a pre-baked in excuse. But I think that, I mean, they have much more talent than Napoli does. They're a well-oiled machine. They've been around with the squad for a while. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a literal winning machine. All they can do is fuck it up, and they just got a huge gift again. I mean, Napoli's done nothing over the past 8 weeks but give them gifts. And yeah, I mean, I'd be shocked if Inter couldn't win it after all those gifts have been given. I mean, they shouldn't have been able to. They shouldn't even have been that close. Napoli
Yeah,
should have easily won
it's
2 of
kind of
those.
the theme of a lot of this stuff. I mean, and
Yeah,
that's
the whole
kind of what we'll
season.
go get in with the exact next game, Bologna Lazio.
What a
Total
mess,
surprise. I thought this was going to be either a tie
dude.
or Lazio might swing it. I don't know. Tie was probably my I think that's my prediction, but Bologna 5-0.
This is
I
where I
mean,
give these guys
man.
such a hard time for playing a lot of games. Like they just can't do it where everybody in every other sport does just fine. This is exactly just a tired team.
Yeah,
They
they
resent.
actually looked tired.
They
Like
did. They had
whenever
no
they
fire.
actually looked totally tired.
Mhm. Yep. They're
Like
yeah,
sloppy passes, like honestly, lots of sloppiness from them. Because obviously
yeah.
they were giving their all in midweek and they couldn't pull it out for this game, which is equally as big because this is your probably one of your biggest direct rivals now for the top four.
Oh yeah. That's a major pummeling there.
Right, whereas like Bologna looked fresh, they looked good. Like all their top guys, Orsolini and Ndoye in particular. Ndoye was amazing the whole. Ndoye was
Yep.
probably the best player for Bologna with Orsolini falling behind that. And Odegaard, I thought he's had a really good season all season. I've never
Yep.
thought he was that great this season, though. He's been really consistent the whole time. So they all
This
played well.
we've said this a bunch about Bologna. Um, it's a well constructed team. They got players in the roles that are exactly suit their characteristics,
Yeah,
and they have guys on the bench that can drop right in and do the same exact thing that they know what's expected of them. They got a couple pieces that are mobile that can play multiple roles that are versatile. And they got some young guys that are, I mean, look at Castro and Dominguez. These guys are really good. So
Yeah.
it's definitely not an amazing team, but they're at least well built. They're built with someone, the guy who built them, Mr. Sartori. They're built with the brain. I think Dybala's doing all the scouting there too.
I
I think
mean,
that's the
they're
guy that's
well
been handling
built,
it the last few years.
and Italiano honestly is doing overall a very good job with, in my
Yeah.
opinion, a like not an amazingly talented team, but he's making these guys seem like they're talented. He's almost doing like a Atalanta thing at like they kind of make somebody's out of nobody's. So
Well, he does what he does. He's got his style. Live by the sword, die by the sword. Today they live by it, and you know, it's Serie A in 2025. It's just a big giant mess. You don't know who's going to show up each week.
the big thing is that they moved into fourth place. Bologna now sits at
Amazing.
53
That's
points, which
ridiculous.
is 5 points back from Atalanta, one ahead of Juve, two ahead of Lazio, and then four ahead of Roma. So
That's
kind of
crazy.
wild. Bologna now slides back into fourth place, where a couple weeks ago they weren't doing the best. That win over Milan kind of springboarded them, and they had a couple big wins since then. So far they've actually performed against their direct rivals, which is something that not a lot of teams can say.
Yeah, it's just winning games against the teams you should, and then not winning. They'll beat Lazio and Milan, and then they'll lay a
Right.
stinker against these shitty teams.
That's
Like,
like
guys,
that's
you
like
did the
every
hard
team though
work.
this season. That's every team this
Yeah,
season.
it's because you simply just can't be bothered to play against Verona or
I don't know. So
Venezia.
it's a really weird year.
Yeah,
Something's in the water. It's
yeah,
going throughout the whole series. I'm really curious to see which team is going to be more consistent, and that's
yeah.
probably going to determine who's going to get top four.
Well, I mean, we've been pulling for Napoli, that's for sure, for the Scudetto, but I just don't see how they're going to take out this Inter team, man. They are rolling, baby.
I mean, Scudetto. It's definitely. I think even though technically Atlanta is not fully out of it, I think it's going to be a race. As
Yeah,
far as and we'll talk about that at the end when we cover the big game of the week. But as far as top four goes, it is totally blown wide open. There's like how many teams can actually get there? One,
I think
two,
Roma is
three,
in the
four,
mix too
five,
now.
6 teams can get there. Oh, Roma's been in the mix now.
Roma, I
I
mean,
mean,
they're
I
just
would
they're just
say
streaking.
top four chances end at Milan. Milan's 2 games back. Udinese is like 4 games back. So Milan is 2 games back.
Yeah,
Everybody else, that's one, two, three, five, 6 teams are vying for top
yeah,
or for spot four because I think the top three are going to be pretty locked. I don't see Inter, Napoli, and
yeah.
Atalanta falling out of the top. Sure, it's wild. What a wild
I mean,
season.
dude, if Fiorentina gets hot, who knows? I mean,
I know they just have a really schedule. But I think we should do
they
like a
do.
little review if we have time at the end. But
Yeah,
let's
yeah. Let's do it.
push on Roma. Cagliari, Roma, the most informed team, still the most informed team. They
Yep.
pull it off
Well,
1-0.
story of the game. Dybala's out for a month.
Yep, I was just gonna say it, but they just had a massive issue, and that's Dybala
Yeah,
gone. And we don't really know. Is he really gonna be out for a month? It's gonna be longer, but
that's what
he
they said
missed four
today, but
games.
it's probably longer.
That's bad.
Yeah, I bet he's out for the season.
4 games is huge. I mean, let's see
Yeah,
what games there's gonna be. They got, in my opinion, unfairly ousted from Champions League. If you guys watch a video that we'll be coming out with pretty soon about some of the refereeing that happened recently,
yeah.
I
It's
think
total
that
bullshit.
they were very
Yeah,
hard done by. Um,
yeah.
look at Roma's upcoming games that Dybala will miss. Lecce, I think they should be able to win it without Dybala. But then they have Juve and Lazio. They have the
Hmm.
Roma derby, which really sucks. Like to miss the Derby della Capitale, that's not gonna be fun. And then Juve, which is a direct competitor now for top four. Then they've got Verona, and that's if Dybala comes back, then he'll make Inter.
Oh God.
They have Inter, Fiorentina, Atalanta, Milan, and Torino. Their schedule is the hardest.
Yeah. Yep.
They have
No, I
two
don't know if
easier
they're gonna get through
games,
that.
Lecce and Verona. Everybody else is a hard team.
They absolutely need Dybala. He has been the absolute key
Yeah,
for
I
their
think this is
success.
going to do Roma in. If they continue without him, then there's something special going on there. But I think this is going to
Yeah.
do Roma in, and I actually was gonna pick them for my dark horse for top four because he's been
Yeah.
so good this season. Dybala has been top level, totally world class this season.
Best player in Serie A, in my opinion. I don't think there's a single player like him, and certainly not a single player that has a greater impact on his team than him. And I mean, you can see it in the results. So yeah, I would agree with that. Dark horse for top four at this point in the season with, a solid roster and
Issue
best
now
player in
though is
Serie A.
Dybala going out.
Yeah, I mean,
It's huge.
Soule's been playing a lot better, but he's not even close to being at the level of Dybala. He
No,
doesn't, he can't do that job,
so
and
we'll see
that's
if Roma can
that's going to be
hang,
a
but
hit.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna they have a really tough schedule looking up. So we'll see how it
Yeah.
plays out. But yeah,
Well, let's see if
that's big.
Baldonzi can step it up, you know?
We'll see. Are we moving to Fiorentina Juve? Quite the
Oh,
game here. An absolute smoking 3-0 goals
well,
from
this was part of
Gosens,
my joy.
Mandragora, and Goodmanson.
This was the good part of the weekend because I get to see some, Mandragora, former Juve guy. Fagioli looked good out there. It was good.
Now,
Good weekend for,
Fagioli was great this game.
Palladino,
Fagioli was
former Juve
active.
guy. He looked good. It's good to see the Juventus guys playing well.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it
And
was positive.
honestly, it was very much a game of poetic justice. Just Juve getting a
Yeah,
taste
no
of
doubt.
of their own, right? Just
Yep.
kind of eating a nice slice of humble pie, and now I'm sure the fires have been lit at Juve again, and stuff's going wild.
Yeah, the no the actual really the good thing about all this is so we're out of it anyways. Who cares? If you ain't first or last, I don't give a shit. Um, the best part about this is like fans are kind of starting to realize here how bad the team is because after all the lectures we received, with
Oh
how
yeah,
great the
yeah.
272 was, how Giuntoli's a predator and he's cooking and all the shills and all
All
the
the
zombie
slang
fan
terms,
base.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're seeing now that it just doesn't work. If you don't do things, there's a way you do things at
Yeah.
Juventus.
These aren't
And when you
Juve
stray from the
guys. This
path,
isn't a Juve
yeah,
team.
no,
This is what it
no.
matters.
Coop Miners is never ever a Juve
Moise
guy.
Keane, also Juve
Lewis,
guy.
yep.
So yeah,
I mean,
isn't that
these guys
fun?
grew up together. They played together. Like this, you don't have to start all the kids, but you had some veterans to play with. We had some veterans to play them next to, and to let them grow in and take over their
Yes.
spots. Yeah, sell some of them. Keep the best ones. It's really it's like you said, poetic justice. It's a deserved raping. It was well done. Well done from Fiorentina. I'm happy for Palladino and
Yeah,
Fagioli.
but
And
I'm happy for him for kind of keeping the same lineup. He's doing the 3-5-2. We both think it
yeah,
fits his team a lot better.
yeah.
And so he's finding some consistency now. The past few games, Fiorentina has looked better for sure. They're not quite there yet, but they are looking better. So we'll see
Well,
what Fiorentina
Goodmanson's
can bring.
getting back though. A big
That's
thing
pretty
is
big.
Goodmanson. Yeah, I
That's
mean
pretty big.
he's not just hitting fucking nice shots, but he's also like linking play up again. I mean that was really a big thing they missed too was him. He's such an active, combative player, and when after his injury, it took him a long time to really get back to that level again. And yeah, it's made a big
But he's
difference.
also gonna
Absolutely,
help Keane because he's gonna draw people away from him because you have to mark him,
absolutely.
and so now that's gonna give Keane more space. So
Yeah.
good work from Fiorentina. Juve, it's going to be wild for the next few weeks here. I'm sure the rumor mill is kind of circulating the second they got smoked about what players they're going to sell or sign. Is Giuntoli safe? Is Mota safe? It's going to be a bit nuts at Juve, and that's fine. They deserve it. When you build a team
Yeah,
like this, you deserve it.
yeah, we did a cast on this recently. It was after the Atalanta match, and nothing's changed. It's the same. And honestly, if you ask us, I think our mid-season one, same. Nothing's changed. It's just it's a shame that it takes this long for people to realize, and it's especially a shame if nothing happens to these guys. I mean, I don't know why Malta's still here. Moji said he should be canned after the PSV. I mean, dude, when you lose the team like this, when they fall apart like this, that's a disaster. It's just a full-blown disaster. So. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is going forward because I don't have faith in any of these people are going to actually get replaced. But
No, I think
I
that
can
they
at least
will.
enjoy
I
it.
think I think Mota at this point is staying till
Mota's
the
definitely
season
going to
end.
be.
Yeah, I think he's
He
gonna
has
be
the least
going.
impact out of all of them, though. Like he's like the least important one to replace.
I
He's
agree.
not very good at his job, but he's like the damage goes way deeper than him. He's just like a shitty another one of Juntley's shitty players. I mean, that's all. That's all he is.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not.
it's hard for me to like. It's hard for me to judge him too harshly, but I mean, I also don't think he's doing a good job because this is a really weird. It's almost like what's happening at Milan. I don't think there's many coaches in this whole world you could toss into Milan who would all of a sudden make a difference. Like I honestly think if you signed Carlo Ancelotti today, he wouldn't do that well with this roster
Oh no,
at
no, it's not
Milan.
good enough roster
Like
for him.
it's just how it goes. Like this, there's a bunch of stuff that's poisoned from the top, and that you could toss a bunch of people in. So yes, Mota is doing a poor job. Thought he'd do better, but this is a mess, and that stuff
There's a lot
trickles
of bad
down.
coaches.
That stuff trickles down big time. So I
Oh,
mean, we'll see what happens at the end, but
there's
I think he'll do well with the next team he goes to.
there's a lot of bad coaches. But here's an example. This was a story that was released this week. That's new. Just to let you know how like things are going there. Did you see that interview with Heisen? Dean Heisen?
No.
He goes, yeah. When I came back from Roma, they made me aware that they were gonna sell me, and I wasn't needed at the club. They made him practice alone. They're like just made him practice. He's like, yeah, I had to practice by myself. I got isolated from the practices, and then they sold me. I'm like, that kind of behavior is so fucking juvenile, bitchy, and vindictive, and that's how your management is. Like, no wonder all this shit's going on. So,
Yeah,
the players
that's so
talk.
petty. That
You
it's
know,
so
like
petty. It's not masculine. Like it's just not like that's not a way to treat a human.
it's bitch behavior, and like Yildiz, Fagioli, and this guy are buddies. Like, what? Of course they're gonna be pissed. Like this is not a good. This is where Juntali is a big problem. He's doing all this shit. So that just kind of reiterates the point. It's comes from the top, and it gets way worse. Unless those guys go, it's I mean nothing's gonna be different. There's links like Mancini. What do you think he's gonna do? Mancini's gonna come in here and fix this? Really? Come on. Him
Only
and those.
only if they give a coach full authority over the Mercato could it make a
Yeah,
difference.
yeah. They have to. He has to. Yeah,
They have to give
Juntali.
up control and let the coach do his ideas, pick his players, and maybe there's a chance if
I
that
agree.
coach can do it. So we'll see. But yeah, either way, I'm happy for Fiorentina. That's
Me
see
too.
that's my team. I would love to see
That's a
qualify
primo console team
for
this
top
year.
four.
Yeah.
That's right. So, but
Mhm.
they got a tough schedule too. We go into the
Agree.
game of the weekend. This was to determine really is it going to be an all brawl for first or will Inter pull ahead? And as has happened time and time again, Gasperini cannot handle Inter. I think I'll start with saying I believe this is due to stylistic issues, whereas Gasperini plays the way
Yeah.
he plays, which is good for the modern way. When you're met with a counterattacking style and a very compact counterattacking style that Inzaghi's men and then Conte's men played in the past, you're probably gonna
Mhm.
lose those games. I mean, what's you have the record pulled up, right? What's
Yeah.
Gasperini's record versus Inter?
His record versus Inter is 5-9-20.
And that's 20 losses, correct?
20 losses. Yeah,
Five
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 wins, nine
wins,
draws,
9 draws, and
20
and
lost.
losses. I mean that's
Yeah.
very very bad.
No, you said it perfectly. That's just they're literally his kryptonite because the way they play. If you're going to play all aggressive, irresponsible, naive at the back, then a team that's the complete tactical opposite of you is always going to take advantage of you like that. Same. That's like you said earlier. That's why Conte teams are good against him usually. So just it's a style thing. He's had a good season.
Yeah,
Inter's too talented, and yeah, they're you know they they just counter him too well.
yeah. I will say the red card for yelling at the ref I think is a bit
Ridiculous,
much.
dude.
This stuff happens in England on
Yeah,
a weekly basis and doesn't get punished. It's a bit
yeah,
much. And then Inter doesn't get the same treatment.
right.
The refing's been pretty rough this year overall in Serie A. It always is. But that I just didn't like to see that. That's really
That was a
a lot of
ridiculous
people
call.
gave Ederson some flack. I don't think it was that bad at all. I don't think
No,
it should have
dude.
been a red card.
Oh, please, you bitch at refs in every single sport, from every level, from pro to beer league. Refs get chirped. They
Yeah.
just deal with it, guys.
All right. I don't really think there's too much to say besides the class of Inter tends to kind
Yeah,
of win out in these
that's all it
situations.
was. Yeah.
Carlos Augusto
The-
unmarked, generally unmarked in the box for his initial goal, and then Martinez seals the deal, so there's no chance for Atalanta to
Well,
come
there was
back.
that long delay before the first goal. That was weird. And then like Atalanta just didn't want to play. I guess they like forgot the game was starting again.
Yes,
That was
it
odd.
was still like a corner kick, right?
Yeah, it was a long delay. There was some van that was having like a medical emergency or whatever.
Yeah,
So it was like a 5 or 6 minute delay. That's just that's a lot for these guys to stay patient for. I mean, especially the
stay
Atalanta
focused for yeah.
guys up on, yeah. Well, they're on those sweet roids. So they were just tweaking. So yeah, it's got all messed up.
I mean,
But no,
relatively even as far as stats go. 16 to 14 shots, 5 to 3 shots on target, equal possession roughly. I mean, everything was generally the same, but this I think it was just a
nice.
their character and quality did win out.
Absolutely.
You see, this is without DeMarco, and he's obviously a huge player, and then his substitute comes through in Carlos Augusto. So That's
Yeah.
pretty good. I do think that Inter, we do give them a lot of flack about their depth. They do have a couple good depth players like Fratesi and Augusto, and he came up big there.
He
Pretty
did.
pretty
Yeah.
pretty meaningful. Bastoni gets a red card for next game. Who do they play?
Against
They
nobody.
play Udinese. That's okay.
Yeah. You know who was good
Okay.
last game for Inter? Acerbi.
Yes, Cherby's been looking good.
Yeah.
Cherby's been looking very solid. I
He's
think
one
he's
of the
more
few
important for
proper
that team
defenders. Yeah.
than people think.
He's one of the few proper defenders left in the sport in general.
Oh, Cherby's good, and Inter does look more shaky without him for sure.
Oh yeah,
Like I
no
don't
doubt.
think that their other defenders are very great. I
No.
think it's Bastoni is their best by far, and then Acerbi when he's feeling good is probably their second best.
Yeah, I agree.
So do you
I would
think
say
this is it,
maybe
man? I mean, the big question. It's early. There's still nine
no,
games.
it's
Do
hard to
you
see.
think
You
this is
can't.
it?
If, if my brain says my
Your brain
mind's
says
telling me
Inter.
yes, but my body's telling me no. Is that how the song goes?
I don't even know, but what I'm getting from it is your heart wants Napoli, but
You're
the
never
brain
out of
thinks
it,
in.
and you can't say that.
Yeah,
Especially, I have confidence in the team as a whole. I mean, they've Napoli's shown a lot of character this season, and they are in a rough patch. It's a matter of them getting out of it. So, I mean, they're not getting they're not getting blown out or have things all fall apart on them, but
yeah.
they're still fighting. But yeah, they're just having a rough patch right now. They got to get through, and if they do, look out. I think Neres needs to shake off whatever injury he's got and
I think
get
he's
the
slated
field.
to be back next game, from what I'm
Okay,
hearing. So
they need him.
he
Raspadori's done
should be
well.
back, and it's gonna help out a lot. So
Yeah, it's going to help a lot because last game Lukaku was garbage, awful, worst game I've seen him play in a long time, and they really needed some kind of movement, like some kind of pace up top.
yeah, when
They
he's
just had
off,
none.
you need something else, and that's why they
Yeah,
had like Neres, and then before that, Kvaratskhelia.
yeah,
You need guys like that because you can't be on it every game.
no, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. It's not over, but
No,
I
it's definitely
I,
not
I
not
think Inter's
over.
going to get better and better as the season goes on. I really
That
do. I think.
that game looked like old Inter, which is like
Yeah.
it always seemed inevitable. Like they never really looked like. And while watching it, so I was hoping for Atalanta to get something out of it. Because just like you, I'm kind of pushing for Napoli for the Scudetto, but it looked like a typical Inter game where yeah, they might be put under pressure here or there, but they never looked like they were actually going to lose it. They barely
No,
looked like they were going to actually get scored on, and you just always knew they were going to pull it off.
totally agree. The most talented team in Serie A, I think by quite a margin.
Um, let's look at the standings, and then let's look
Yeah.
at the games ahead. Actually, let's preview the games ahead, and then we'll look at the standings to kind of get a little bit of
Okay.
a overview here.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
this will now be match day
Ooh.
30.
Oh
Kind of
wow.
crazy. So we are in the last 9 games here. All right. Match day 30. Venezia versus Bologna.
Well, I'm gonna go with Venezia here because Bologna's coming off a couple good games.
Man,
Venezia 2-0.
it's
I mean,
really
that's how.
wild. It's really wild because like I should easily say Bologna, but because
Yeah.
of just who they've been, and Venezia's been giving a lot of teams who are actually fighting for stuff some trouble. I
Mhm.
I still think I'm going to lean Bologna. I'll go 2-1.
They
They're
they
going to
just
pull it
got to
off.
fourth, so they got to screw it up. They
Yeah,
just
yeah.
got it, so they got to screw
That
it
would
up.
be par for the Serie A course for sure.
Mhm.
Como Empoli. I think Como is going to continue their good form. Their good vein of form. I think Como is going to beat Empoli maybe 3-1.
I think Empoli is gonna win 1-0.
All right. So Como's
I'm
form is
going upsets
their
all
kind of streak
across.
is going to break. I know that they lost to Milan, but it was kind of a weird game.
Yeah. After the
Um,
international break, this is.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I think maybe next week we'll do a little international break discussion about
Yeah, we should
lineups and
definitely.
roster about that since
Yes.
we both follow the Nazionale closely.
We can talk about why the Italian national team has been struggling, and a lot of people think that it's the midichlorian count that's fallen off. There's just a lack of talent, and just adult males are not coming out with the same ability levels that they used to. I don't think so. I think it's a structural problem. So I think we should have a little conversation about that. Is it structure or is it midichlorians? What do you think? Find out next week on Primo Calcio.
All right, let's phase through. Next is going to be Juve Genoa. Genoa has been super solid. Juve has been really struggling. I'm gonna go Genoa tie 2-2.
Mm, I don't. I think Juve, this is one that Juve is going to win, and Mozza's going to keep saving his job, and
Really?
all the fans are going to say, I told you they were an amazing team." I think Juventus is going to win 2-1.
I mean, they
I
could.
think Lloyd Kelly's going to get an own goal.
This would be very much like Juve to like come back for a little bit, have like a 2 or 3 game streak, and then just fail again.
Yeah.
That would be exactly what they've been doing all season.
I don't think they're going to lose 3 games in a row. I don't think. Yeah, maybe a draw is probably in order. But I mean, they just got blown out twice in a row. The probability of them getting blown out thrice in a row is like so small, man. There's no way. I mean, it's they're.
They're
I
not
think
going to
they
get blown
paid the
out. I mean,
price.
they're definitely not going to get blown out. I just think that they might fail and go back to their ways of just tying because they were doing that earlier this season. I think we're like 2-2-1-1 tie here.
Okay.
Lecce,
I say,
Roma. A Dybala-less
oh,
Roma
I think
versus
they'll get
Lecce.
Lecce still. I think they'll still get Lecce. I think Baldanzi's been playing better. I think Soule's been playing better. I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to get them. It's going to be close. It's going to be 1-0.
I want to believe for Roma's sake that they'll pull it off. I think similar. I think it's going to be 2-0, 2-1.
Okay.
Monza, Cagliari. I'm still going to predict Monza is going to get their first win. I think they've been playing
Yeah,
better. I thought so last week. They
me
came
too.
close. I'm going to go Monza 1-0.
Yeah, same,
Close game.
same one. Yeah, that, yeah.
All right, first of the big games this week,
Mhm.
Fiorentina, Atalanta. Fiorentina is sitting with 48 points. They are very, very close in the hunt for the top four. And then Atalanta, of course, just came off of a big loss here. This is a must win, in my opinion, for Atalanta to stay in the hunt if they have any chance. I don't think they're going to get the Scudetto now, but if they have any chance, they have to win this game.
I think Fiorentina wins this game, and they win it 2-1.
That's my prediction as well. I think it's going to be the nail in the coffin of Atalanta's potential Scudetto run. They're going to have to settle
Yeah.
for top four and just try to battle for second.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that would be a pretty huge win for Fiorentina since they've got a ton of tough games coming up.
Oh
So
yeah.
okay, Inter Udinese. I think Inter continues the run. I could see Udinese kind of surprising them because this is now not a must win for Inter. Maybe there's a tie game going on here. Maybe Inter pulls it off 2-1, 3-2, something wild.
I think Inter gets a 1-0 win. Udinese's feisty, but I don't think they're going to threaten them. I think it's going to be 1-0.
Okay, fair. All right, the second big game, Napoli Milan
2-1
at
Napoli.
at Napoli.
2-1 Napoli.
Yeah, I mean that's what my kind of initial instinct thought. But this is just that type of weird game where like Milan will struggle against Como and almost lose versus Lecce, but then they'll surprise you and all of a sudden they'll beat Napoli. I don't want to see it because I don't want Napoli to be out of this the race. I actually want a Napoli win here to hold it. Milan's basically fighting for nothing, fighting for they're doing the whole Juve thing, right? They should be a
Yeah.
team fighting for first place, and so the fact that they're fighting for top four, like I know there's money involved, but it just means nothing.
It means nothing. No, it's
Historically,
absolutely.
to people who like have some standards for like Milan and Juve, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean much. Um,
It's actually better because then maybe they'll have to get rid of more of these bums. But
yeah, maybe they'll actually do like a rebuild rather than
yeah,
just kind of like muddling
yeah.
through. Oh man, I'm gonna go draw. I'm gonna go. It's gonna hurt both teams 2-2.
You're probably right, dude. And this is why I don't think that I think Inter's got it now. I just
This week, weirdly enough, it
man.
doesn't seem like it's a special week, but if Inter wins and Fiorentina ties or wins and Napoli does not win, this is really gonna
Over.
set Inter up.
Yeah, yeah. No, Napoli
And
has
with a
to win out.
schedule, it could happen.
Napoli has to win the next 9 games. I
No,
don't
not
see
9. They
them.
could win like
Yeah,
7. I
yeah.
think they could win
Inter's
7.
not going to stumble, dude. Inter's going to roll.
You
Dude,
think so?
this league
I
is
think
so
Inter's
bad.
gonna stumble. They've been stumbling all season.
They haven't. Everybody's been, but now I think Inter is playing a lot better than they were, and that's because they're playing important games in Champions League. things are starting to become start to be
It's
on
starting
the
to get serious.
line.
Yeah, it's starting to get
Yeah,
serious
it's
now.
getting serious now. So like now these players are waking up and activating, and it's like, okay, now the class comes out. That's,
Yeah, it's
I think,
hard to
very
motivate your
typical of
team
teams.
when you just
Yeah,
won a Scudetto and like it's beginning of the season. You're playing like
yeah,
a lower end team. It's hard to
yeah.
motivate.
We'll get them. Don't worry, boys. We'll get them. No worries. We're better than them, and you are. They're better than all these teams. So I think that yeah, it's not. I think Napoli has to win out. I don't think Inter's going to stumble more than once or twice.
Well, they definitely have to
So
start this coming, I guess, 2 weeks from now, against
yeah.
Milan. Massive game.
Hmm.
Verona Parma. I think Parma. I think it's gonna be a tie, 2-2 tie.
Probably, sure.
Another kind. I mean, I wouldn't really call it a big game, but it's big for Lazio. Lazio Torino. Torino's been a very feisty team. They give everybody a battle this year.
Yeah,
They're playing very very well, and I have a feeling Lazio is gonna stumble here again. I think that
they do.
Lazio has said been looking tired. They
They got the,
shouldn't
they
they
got
shouldn't
they
be
got the
now,
international
but
break though.
they have the international
Yeah,
break. But Torino's been a very feisty team and have been looking very good. I think they might
yeah.
tie this game.
I think Lazio comes out and wins 2-0.
So they keep the top 400 alive then.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so let's go over standings here. Do a little brief
Okay.
recap. So Inter 64, Napoli 61. So one game between
That's
them.
such a
And then
bummer.
same exact situation with Napoli Atalanta 61 to 58, one game between them.
Mhm.
5 points separates Atalanta from Bologna. So top three are kind of doing their own thing right now. 53 for Bologna, 52 for Juve in fifth place, 51 for Lazio. So 1 point separating those next couple teams. Top
Mhm.
four. Then Roma 49, Fiorentina 48, Milan 47. So all those teams are in the hunt for top four,
Yeah.
besides Udinese, who just by losing this last week definitely took their name out of the hat as a dark horse as well.
Yeah,
So
you got that middle pack of Udinese, Torino, Genoa. They're on their little island.
yeah, they're the teams you
Ninth
just
through
don't really
fourth are
want
all
to play.
there. Yeah, ninth through fourth are all in the mix. Yeah, it's a matter of consistency over these past over this final stretch of the season. You know, um,
It's
I,
I
I,
mean
I s-
top four is wild. Top four is absolutely wild. I think
yeah.
there's going to be much more to talk about each week because no team can really cement a good run in stone so far. Juve was looking like it for a little bit, and then they just fell off.
Well, yeah, they were pretty sloppy, and then yeah, they had a nice like what 4 game run there.
Yeah, and then like Champions League hit, and then Reds just crumble, crumble, crumble.
Yeah. Well, they were still winning while they were playing Champions Leagues, but the Serie A was looking good, and
Well,
then
when they
yeah,
got
that
eliminated, I think that kind of like
yeah,
started the
yeah,
bad juju around the team, so to speak.
it did, it did. Which it's funny that all of a sudden their lofty standard of fourth place finish is now
Yeah,
suddenly not good enough.
yeah,
It's like,
exactly
well,
right.
they're still on, they're still on track. What's the big deal, guys? This $300 million team isn't.
Yeah, they're so close. I mean,
Yeah, we're fighting for that
technically,
fourth place like you want us
they're
to.
only 2 point. They're only two
Yeah,
games away from Atalanta, which is in third. It's weird.
yeah,
Grand season. If Inter
yeah.
wins
That's
out,
more of a symptom of a bad season than a
oh yeah.
good Juve.
If Inter wins out, what they could get 27 points remaining, which would
Hmm.
actually be like a reasonable overall tally. That would put them at
Yeah,
about 91.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
reasonable.
so that's definitely strong. So I guess it's not that bad if they get some wins. I just think that everybody's gonna keep beating each other up. So all
Yeah,
right, who do you think? And we'll do another prediction in a couple weeks time. Who do you think is gonna be the team to hit fourth?
I
You
think Juve
got
are gonna
six
get it.
teams to choose.
I think Juventus are gonna get it. They spent the most money. They're just as inconsistent as everybody else. Um, I don't know. I don't. I hope Roma's been in good form, but they lost Dybala. That's a major. I would have said Roma.
Same here.
Fiorentina's been sloppy.
Same
Milan's been
here. I
sloppy.
was gonna
Juve's
pick
been
Roma
sloppy.
until the injury.
Lazio's been sloppy. God, is it Bologna, man? Did they did they just get it together because they have some solid dudes there? And if Italiano can just calm the fuck down
They've
once in a
got
while,
nothing
maybe they'll.
else to play for, right?
Yeah,
They're out of Copa, they're out of Champions League,
yeah.
and it does matter for in this league so far. So Italiano can just focus his whole thing. I think Bologna is a serious shout.
Well, they're there. It's theirs to lose now,
I mean, there's 9
right?
games, man. Like what? Like
Yeah, well, theirs
if
to
they
lose.
if they
What's their
lose, and
schedule?
Lazio and Juve win their games, Bologna down drops 2 places.
What's Bologna's schedule?
All right, Bologna's next game. Let's look. They've got Venezia. Then they have Napoli. Then they have Atalanta, Inter, Udinese,
God,
Juve, Milan, Fiorentina, Genoa. Oh
they got the
man,
worst. That's the worst schedule of all of them.
that's even worse than Fiorentina's.
But how can you really say that? Because these teams are beating the good teams and losing to the bad
Yeah, I
ones.
mean Napoli just tied Venezia and they just lost 2 points
Yeah,
there. So yeah, I mean,
yeah,
but that
yeah. And the Napoli beat
objectively,
Atalanta.
objectively, that's a horrible schedule.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a horrible schedule.
That's a horrible schedule.
Oof, oof. I mean, who's it going
Um,
to be, man? Milan's still in the mix here. Are your boys going to do it? Are they going to pull it together? They're the best roster out of all of them.
there's no reason that they couldn't, besides just the poison at the club. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
weird
It's 6
situation.
points.
They got
They can
Napoli
make up.
next week, Fiorentina
Yeah,
after that. I mean, it's like their next two Serie A matches. I mean, they have Napoli and then Inter in the Coppa and then Fiorentina right after that. So like that little chunk there, that little week, is probably gonna decide the entire season for them.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if they end up like tying Napoli and then beating Fiorentina, yeah, they're in it for sure.
Are they in
Or if
the?
they win both, they're definitely in it. They're probably actually maybe like close to actually already being in top four at that
Where are we at in the Copa semifinals?
semifinals. Yeah. So
And they play
yeah,
Inter.
yeah, it'll actually be a hard fought game.
And who's alive on the other side? Empoli
Good.
and who? No,
No, he was out.
we're out. Yeah, we got knocked out by
Oh,
Empoli
by
in
Empoli.
penalties. Yeah.
I don't know.
Who is it?
Let me
Who is it?
see.
Because
Hope we tell you.
can Conceição bring two
Oh, definitely.
significant
I think
trophies to Milan
that's
this
what a
year?
lot of the fans have been talking about. They've been
Yeah,
talking about winning two trophies. Super Copa, in my opinion, isn't even a trophy. I don't know why that's a thing. It's a total joke.
I couldn't
But
give a fuck about either of them.
yeah, seriously, I don't know when people started caring about Copa Italia. It gets you a spot
It's
in
loser
the
mentality.
Europa League.
Yeah. No,
Like,
it's
okay, you can finish seventh, sixth place.
yeah.
It's weird.
No one used to, and then when your team's not good anymore, that's what happens. You start giving a shit about just getting trophies. Well, he got his
Bologna is
trophies.
alive.
There's
Bologna is alive.
oh,
I
Bologna
totally
and
messed that
Empoli.
one up. It's Bologna Empoli. So
Oh
Bologna
wow.
is actually going to be fighting for something, man.
So you could see a
Copa.
Bologna. So if Milan can beat Inter here in the Copa,
See Bologna Milan.
that's two
Yeah.
incredible achievements for Sergio Conceição. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. That's two trophies.
Oh my god. No, you know what?
Yeah,
A lot of people say is they say, well, if Milan, let's say Milan totally misses top four, which is possible,
yeah,
and then they win Coppa Italia. Who cares? It gets Europa League. They win a Super Cup and they beat Inter like a bunch of times this season because they beat them just by most times here. Then
yeah.
people are gonna think a lot of these Milan players. I think that's a win.
They do.
I would
Yeah,
take all that for a loss and go win a Scudetto, or at least get
yeah.
second place and actually give a respectable challenge to the winners,
Right. Yeah, I
rather
agree. I want to
than
be in the
taking a
actual
Coppa
race.
Italia.
Yeah, I want to fight the real fight and not just sit there. Yeah, that's like small club
That's just
mentality.
me though.
That's the kind of achieve. No, that's the kind of achievement that a club like Bologna would be. It would be a very great achievement for them
Yes,
to
yeah,
do those
not
things.
Milan. Milan should be striving
Right.
for greater. Bologna can
Yeah.
enjoy that. Atalanta can enjoy that. That's fine. That's not the
Yes.
level of Milan, or should not be at least.
That's why
So,
I don't. The Napoli fans were all pissed this year when Conte played his backups in the
mhm.
Coppa, and I was like, guys, they have a super thin team. If they get one injury, the team's totally effed. You don't want any part of this meaningless thing. They're like, it's a trophy. I'm like, guys, change your mentality. You're in a proper race right now. You guys are
Yeah,
you guys are fighting with Inter for the Scudetto, and you're the best chance, the best competitor they have.
yeah, they can't
Like
be wasting any resources
they're
anywhere
a big
else,
club now.
risking injuries. You can't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
They're not. Yeah, Conte gives you a whole nother level, and the way they're signing players. And it looks like they're actually getting some youth players in here for a change. Like they could actually be building a team that's going to actually last and be consistent instead of just like a total mercenary shuffle every year.
yeah,
Like they could be a super powerful team for years to come. So I mean, that's like an example of like mentality shift. It's like that would be would have been a good achievement for Napoli a few years ago. Not anymore. Napoli's there now. They got to change. So, teams like Milan and Juventus should never ever think that way. Absolutely not. No, I don't give a shit about the Copa. I don't give a shit about the Super Cup. Like it's Scudetto or Champions League. That's all. Those are the only two trophies that matter.
All right, with that, we'll wrap it. We'll come back with a little bit. There's a video we made on some of the recent refereeing issues, and we'll
Yeah.
release that in a couple days. And then probably by next weekend, since we won't have any weekly update, we'll do a Nazionale cast. So that's it
Yeah,
for
we
right
should.
now. And thank you guys for watching. As always, Forza Calcio. Ciao.
Boom.